Catchers ballin' like we just hit the jackpot. We just hit the jackpot. We just hit the jackpot. Catchers ballin' like we just hit the jackpot. We just hit the jackpot. We just hit the jackpot. We just hit the. Yeah, I'm Savior Beats. I'm Nicola Pope. Coming at you from Atlanta, that's a fofo. And the 678-770. Peace state, great state, where we puffin' that dro. Trying to get away, people let us stray. Yeah, we just wanna lead, wanna motivate. But I'm the type of cracker that you love to hate. Yeah, and I'm the type of nigga that you love to hate. Spend the night with me, and it's like you hit the jackpot. They love it. The bottles are flowing, the women are dancing, my crew in the booth, sipping on 100 proof, whiskey, tequila, and vodka. My crew, we kick it like soccer, smoking on weed that got hair like Chewbacca, wearing tight pants like I was a punk rocker, rocking Cali Tans, you can catch me in the vans, but you never advance, unless you take a chance, and maybe dance with the devil, who might bring you down to a...
All right, everybody, hello, and welcome to On the Block. This is going to be another game rundown from Big Brother Season 17. We got Johnny Mac joining us. What's up, Johnny?
What's up? Let's do this.
What's up, bro? Yeah.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
All right.
So, we're really fucking stoked to have you on. You were such a fun character all season.
Yay!
Like you tiptoed off into chaos at times, and lots of fun in the DRs. Adam Pock, who want to say congratulations to Adam and Farrah on the birth of their baby. Natalie Victoria Pock was born some time ago.
Nice.
And but anyway, so congratulations to them. But anyway, he said that you have become his favorite house guest over Howie. So like
That's awesome.
that's pretty good. That's a pretty good company to be.
That's huge.
So because Howie's a lot of people's faves.
I beat a Jedi.
yes, exactly. But no, anyway, you were a lot of fun. I want to talk about McCrae will kind of walk us into it, but we want to hear the Johnny Mac story. So
Well, yeah, exactly. Where does it start? Where does like Big Brother come from? Where did you find Big Brother? And then kind of talk us like how you got into the audition process.
Yeah. Okay. So I started watching Survivor season 2. Like I was in 8th grade at the time, and I just always watched that going forward, like every season. And then eventually, I saw Big Brother was on. I didn't really get it, and I was like, oh, it's like Survivor in a house. Let's try it. That was season 8 that summer, and I started watching that. I was hooked. I was like, oh my God, it's like Survivor, but it's on 3 nights a week. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And then all my friends were like, oh my God, you're addicted to this crap. And I'm just like, you just don't get it. That's all.
Yeah.
So then, I started watching since season 8. I went back and watched 2 through 7 on YouTube with Quirky Dude years ago. So I saw all
Big shout out
that.
to Quirky Dude. Big shout out to
Yeah,
Quirky
shout out
Dude.
to Quirky Dude,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
I finally thought, like, I should try to get on the show. Season 15, I made a video. I thought it was pretty good. I'd start doing the interview things. It didn't work out. And then you two show up on it. I'm like, wow, I hate these two.
How far did you get in the process for it?
What's that?
How far did you get in the 15 process? Did you go
Semis, but it looked good.
Wait. Oh, so you went to California. You did all that?
No.
Oh, okay.
Semis, but it was looking good.
Okay.
I don't know how much of it I'm allowed to talk.
Yeah. We don't want to push you that way.
For 15, you could talk about anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
For the casting, the process, then I'm sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, it looked good. And then rejected, 16, did another video, interviewed again for semis. It looked better.
Yeah.
And then it didn't happen again. I was like, damn it. And I was bitter at Cody and Derek that season. I watched it anyway, and I loved it, and they were awesome. And then this year, we just, I sent in another video, and it did a lot better. So,
Okay. Was the encouragement from the previous years is what made you send in a video, or did they ever call you and ask you to turn in another video
No, the
to an
video was
audition?
always good.
Yeah. Okay. Did you used to film a new one each year? Or did you send in the same whenever? Or it was just...
Between the first 2 years, I took things from the last year that I thought were funny still and relevant, and then I put them in. But this year's was just completely new because so much new stuff had happened. I was like, I got so much funny material. Like, in between like applications, I'd always have like my phone ready just in case something weird would happen. Like in one of my second video, I was caught in a flood and my car got like washed away. So I got that. At the end of my one this year, I'm drunk and yelling at people at a baseball game. So that's how I ended the video this year.
Yes.
So like just like keeping it handy, just because like that's awesome.
Do you still
get real stuff in there?
Yeah, yeah, that is
That's
awesome.
actually a really, really cool idea that I've never heard anyone else do. Do you still have those old videos?
Yeah, I have all my videos.
Okay,
man.
you're gonna have to post those online at some point.
Yeah, they're on YouTube. They're unlisted. I don't know if they're allowed.
Yeah, you should definitely talk to production about that because I know a lot of people would love to see those videos from you. You know, like just for knowledge of how to do it. You know.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's definitely like a change. Like the first one's a little bit more like why I should be on the show, blah blah blah, and then they're more towards just like me being an idiot.
Yeah.
I got
As
you.
time goes on, and then I think the
funny.
third one was definitely the best one. So
Okay.
So like when you're going through the process, like obviously you did the dentist thing, or you probably told them like I'm a dentist, but I'm also a rock star. Like how much of like which part did you play up more, or was it like a both kind of like amalgamation?
yeah, it was both together, about 50-50.
Okay.
But towards the end, it was just more stupid stuff that I did, and that didn't matter. But then again, at the same time, like, you're applying every year, but the casting process, they kind of remember you from previous years. You don't have to spend as much time reintroducing yourself. You can get more to the stuff that's going to make them laugh. Or if you're not funny, I don't know what you would do. I guess Vanessa play cards well. I don't know.
Yeah, whatever it takes. Yeah, exactly. Well, let's talk about like when you go to these interviews. I know they ask you about strategy, what your strategy is. What did you tell them your strategy is going to be going in?
Pretty much. I know everyone loves the mastermind and the strategist, but I was just like, I want to be like Caleb. I want to be the idiot just trying to win competitions and everything. I know you don't want to do that, but I want to come off that way to people in the house or on TV because they're just more fun on the camera. So that's pretty much what I said.
Okay. So did they ask if you thought you could win with that strategy?
Yeah, of course you think you can win. You don't go
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna be out first week. What? You're not gonna like that.
I actually told them that I couldn't win.
I am crazy enough to think I would win with that because I was trying.
You also like in the preseason you said that you were a super fan, which you obviously were. But going in there like you played it down. You played down so hard that you were a super fan. And we'll kind of eventually get into that. But like talk us into like walking in the house and then talk us into, because a lot of conversations like, whoa, all the conversations you're having are talking about prior seasons and stuff like that. Yeah. So how tough was that? How hard, like, was that your plan? Did you ever want to tell the house guests that you were a super fan when you went in?
Yeah, so first of all, I've watched the feeds before, and I hate when they just talk about past seasons. I'm like, I already know all this stuff.
Yeah.
I don't care about any of this, but they're just talking about it. So I was like, number one, I'm not going to do any of that. If other people are in there doing that, then I'm just going to shut up to begin with. That happened.
Yeah.
And then, going in there as a super fan, I was like, wow, this looks a lot different than it does on the TV.
Absolutely.
You see all the stuff up there.
Yeah, isn't that a trip? That's
See how shitty the ceiling is, yeah.
I just remember walking in, hugging everyone, and then epically Austin stands up. He's like 10 feet taller than me, and there's all these lights beaming down around him. I'm like, oh my God, what did they put in here? But and then it's like people started talking about past seasons. My story was like, I didn't have a lot of time. I'm working. I have a lot of student loans. I didn't have time to take off work and watch all this. So just what I could get through in sequester, and you really can't get through a whole lot in a week of sequester. Yeah. So it was pretty believable. So I told them I watched 16, 15, and like half of 14. Like I worked my way backwards. Yeah. Okay. And that was a very believable story. Made up some reason for how I got cast, which I don't know if that's completely okay or not, but they asked for it, I gave it to them.
How tough was it? Was it ever tough really to like kind of catch yourself before you're like, oh, remember when Dr. Will, like, was it ever tough like to
there was one time I slipped up. I thought, because, well, anytime I slipped up afterwards, I could just blame it on Jason after he was evicted. I was like, oh yeah, Jason told me that. But
Yeah.
one time, Jason was at the memory wall and he's just looking at his picture and he's making fun of Jen from season 8, and I laughed at it. I was like, oh, I shouldn't know about that.
That's
funny.
Okay,
cool.
so but no, most of the time it was easy. I just think in my head like, okay, I told them I saw up to Brittany's eviction in 14, so I was like, if it didn't happen after that or before that in the season or in 15 and 16, I don't know about it.
Yeah.
Damn, that'd be tough to keep
It's,
track.
yeah, they were fine with it.
Yeah.
While we're on this topic, I got 2 Steve Moses questions for you. The first one being, how did lying about being a super fan help your game?
It helped immensely. Jason was in there talking like he knew the next competition. He knew the ways to win all this, what you have to do for this, and I think that put Vanessa onto him, and Vanessa wanted him out. So I was like, that's awesome. And Steve, everyone wanted Steve out since day one because of what happened with Ian. Because everyone wanted Ian out from day one that season, and he won.
Yeah.
So that put a target on Steve that he had to finagle his way out of. And just like, you put a recruit in there like Liz, like who cares?
Yep.
And people really thought like I had no idea what I was doing, and it worked the whole way until came down to the final 5 and you had to win.
Honestly, no doubt. Austin said he was shocked to find out that you played it so right that he didn't know. So he said that's one thing that he was shocked about to find out. Let's talk about let's kind of get started because you've got an interesting game with nominations and being evicted and resurrected and all sorts of shit. So we got a lot to cover. So let's just kind of start from that first week that we didn't. What did we not see on the feeds? How are you building relationships? Who were you talking to? How did you notice the pairings going off? How did you notice other things forming? Talk about Audrey a little bit during this time because she was obviously starting some shit that was impacting the house dynamics, and then we'll get into the HOHs, Jason and James. Who I'll just go through this. I do this in every episode. I need to start. The audience knows it, but John, I should have told you this before we got on. I'm going to walk through every week because sometimes it's hard to remember like exactly everything that happened, and for the audience that's watching too, so they know what we're talking about. But basically, I want to walk through every week and have you talk about your allegiances that week, what you try to do, how you try to navigate socially, and that kind of thing. So first things first is Jason and James are HOH. Jason is going to name you and Becky as his nominations. James is going to nominate Jackie and Steve. Y'all are going you and Becky are going to win that battle of the block, which starts your comp win
Dominance.
Then anyway, so that leaves Steve's going to win Power Veto, and Jackie and Jace are the noms going into the eviction. So I want to hear about how you tried to stay safe. Well, you've won the battle of the block, so since you don't have any danger of going to the block, I want to know how you navigated thinking about next week and thinking ahead and what you're going to do to try to stay safe.
All right, so yeah, I walk into the house, all right? Jason's like, yelling. I'm like, oh man, he is going. He's target. I don't care what kind of alliances they have.
Yeah.
This guy is loud, and everyone feels like they have to talk over him. So I'm like, he's going. I think I'm good this week, no matter what happens. I talked 0 game. I let everyone else get paranoid, and they formed like 50 different alliances that week. And that's like the main thing. Like that first week, just don't freak out. Like you're gonna slip up and say things that people could use against you later. I just didn't say any game. I sat out back just talking to Jason the whole week. And then the first time I actually talked game, James came up to me. He's like, hey, I'm not putting you up. I'm like, cool. And then I went up to JC. He's like, if you go up, you're not the target. I'm like, cool. All right.
Yeah.
So then I go up on the block, and it's me and Becky. And Jason did allude to, like, if our plan doesn't work, Becky's the target. I was like, all right. I wasn't close to Becky at that point anyway. Mm-hmm. And then we start. I'd love to come down off the block, so we just start, like, coaching each other up in the room, and then we're just thinking we're up against Steve and Jackie, and if it's anything physical, Steve's going to do really, really bad. So we're probably looking pretty good here. Comes into Battle of the Block. Right beforehand, something weird. Day comes to me and she's like, if people are asking you to throw it, don't throw it. I was like, I'm so out of the loop at this point, just because you see people going up to HOH. You're like one of the few people not up there. You know stuff is going down.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, there's 8 people up there. I'm not dumb. They're not up there just playing 20 questions or whatever.
Yeah.
So she had talked to people. I guess that some people want Becky out more than others. I don't know. But we get to Battle of the Block. Steve does really bad. The only reason it was close was because Jackie is so good at that. And even on our team, Becky really carried it. I fell off like a lot. Mm-hmm. It's not a dude's comp.
Yeah.
So we win that. We're safe for the week. Then we get picked for veto. Pretty much all the same people from Battle of the Block ended up in that veto.
Veto, yeah.
And I'm like, I don't need to win this. Steve can win this for himself. I don't care. Mm-hmm. So I just find an easy word to spell. And then just kind of like hang it up. That's good.
Yeah.
And, I'm just trying not to tick anyone off or get too paranoid the first week, because those are the people that you're worried about. The ones that are playing too hard, the ones that are freaking out. And like my whole philosophy with winning HOHs was like, don't win an HOH because you're scared. Win an HOH because you have someone you want to take out. And I didn't have anyone I wanted to take out at that point. So for a long time, I didn't want to win any HOHs. So then Jace goes up. Jace tries to form like a Jingletown alliance with me and Austin. I'm like,
Jingletown.
It's not going to work. I'm not going to be like trying to keep him on a leash all season.
Yeah.
So I voted him out. Day, I think she came and did this with a lot of people. She's like, I want to work really far with you in this game. And she even one time we were standing in the kitchen, me, Steve, and her, and she's like, John, have you ever seen The Usual Suspects? What do you think about Kevin Spacey? Like, just thinking that about Steve, I'm like, that's ballsy, woman. Like,
Kaiser
At the same time, the fast forward thing, like that's when the game actually started and people started freaking out. Like, should I say things to these people? I didn't even talk to Vanessa. We didn't have enough time. I didn't have time to talk to Vanessa. I came into Day's room and she's like, are you really a dentist? And I'm like, yeah. And that was my entire interview. She didn't even try to spin on me. So I'm like, I'm not going to get the fast forward thing. Whatever they have it already. So there's just no game talking first week, really. Just win.
Okay. But relationships wise, you get close to Becky and Clay and Shelly eventually. Where are these relationships at this point in the game?
I got close to Becky week 1. Clay and Shelly didn't happen until the beginning of week 2.
Beginning of week 2. Okay. All right. Well, let's go ahead and roll into that. Like you said, you voted Jace out. You indicated he was trouble and not going to be any addition to your game, so he didn't need to be there. Yeah. So he's gone. So now we've got this last laugh takeover, which we hadn't really talked about the takeovers, but anyway, last laugh takeover. Shelly and Becky are going to win the HOHs. Devon and yourself go up for Shelly. Jason and Steve go up for Becky. Jason and Steve win Battle of the Block. Then you're going to win the Power of Veto. Devon's going to go up against Meg, or Meg goes up against Devon, and Devon's going to be evicted. So this week, you were aware that Devon was somebody that was a target, correct? How did you feel being on the block against her up to the point where you won your POV and saved yourself? Were you nervous?
After the Jason, Day, Vanessa, Audrey blow up in that first set, like I was like, one of those is gonna go home. Okay?
Yeah, no doubt.
That's what it's gonna be. So HOH, I throw it, and then this whole thing happens in one night. I don't know how it came on TV, but all of week 2 happened in one night, except for the phone. So what else? We're sitting downstairs. James is like, Johnny Mac, you're safe. Your girlfriend just won HOH. You're not going up. I'm like, yeah. I go with Becky. I'm like, we're good, right? She's like, yeah, we're good. Yeah, awesome. She's like, I'll put up Steve and Jason. I'm like, good, I don't care. Go ahead. And then I go over to Shelly's room for the interview. It's Jeff, Shelly, Clay, and they're like, we need to put you up. I'm like, fuck. I thought this was going to be good. And then they're like, they want Day out. And apparently, I guess the first week, Day didn't want Shelly in the alliance, Clay did. I'm like, these people are all just like playing way too hard, way too fast. So whatever. If I'm not the target, I'll do dirty work for them. I'll build some trust here, and I'll try to get close to Clay and Shelly. So I'm like, yeah, put me up on the block. I'll try to throw it. And
Okay.
we
So
go out
you're
and play the Battle of the Block, and Davon is really bad at it. She comes up with this crazy strategy to waste a whole lap, going around turning all the cameras on, making it harder to figure out which camera it is. And I see Steve and Jason over. That's what I would have done. They were just far enough. You could do one person on each camera, and like, yeah, that was the best way to do it. But I'm like, Dave, yeah, let's do your idea. I like it. And at one point, I'm doing so bad that I'm trying to like actually help out. She was like, the mask won it, the squirrel. And I was like, no, it goes at the mask. We were just so far behind. So
yeah.
I lose that, and the whole time I'm trying to like keep Dave like, yeah, we're on the same team. We're on the same team. And then we go into the veto, and Clay says, going into the veto, Clay's like, yeah, win it, take yourself off, we don't care. So I go into the veto, and it's a memory one, and I can tell it's one of those ones that, like, the more rounds you play, the better you're going to get at it. So if I'm going to beat Day and make sure I'm safe, I got to do it right now. So I just challenge her first and take her out. Then it seems like a lot, like, at least Meg just seemed like she was throwing it. Yeah. She did not seem like she cared at all. What happens later? But yeah, she didn't seem like she cared. And I beat Clay and Shelly. Then afterwards, they're like, hey, don't use the veto. Just stay up there. Hey, I'm like, no, that's so dumb. There's this last laugh twist. I don't even know what this is. I don't know what all you people have been talking about this whole first week.
Sure.
Like, there's no way I'm going to stay on the block.
Well, you've given them a little bit. You gave them you threw the Battle of the Block for them so they get the nom set the way they wanted to. Did you feel like, and you said that this is when your relationship with Clay and Shelly was really starting to develop. So when they asked you about that, did you feel comfortable rejecting the idea completely, or was it still something that you felt like you needed to kind of, since you're kind of playing a unknowing type character, how did you play that to Clay?
Well, luckily Steve gave me advice and told me about Marcellus. I'm like, I already know about Marcellus. Always use a veto on yourself unless you have like a showmance you're gonna fall on your sword for like an idiot. And then so I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna use it on myself. And another reasoning I came up with for them, I was like, dude, if I don't use it, like, Dave's gonna know something weird is up. Like, I have to use it. Going on between us. Like, they just didn't think this through. They were too chicken to get any more blood on their hands, but it's like, that's why you don't win an HOH out of paranoia. You only win it when you want to take someone out. And that's the way it is. And so you're going to get that extra blood on your hands if you win that HOH. So I was like, sorry, Shelly, you got to do what you got to do. And then they're trying to ask me for names the whole time. I'm just like, I'll just throw out random ones. I don't care. But I know what they're going to do with that information. Anytime anyone asks you, like, who would you do in this situation? I was like,
it's trouble.
That's my business. And if I win, I will do it. But, so they put Meg up, and last laugh. When the last laugh happened, I was like, I could have gone home if I didn't get off there. That was a big swing of votes.
Yeah, absolutely. Very dicey situation.
Especially with all those people working together. Like, Meg might have been the only option that would work there. So then, so Day tries to tell everyone she has the votes. I tell her, I got your back. I really don't.
Well, going into the next week, I mean, you kind of end up going to like kind of the same thing or whatever. You know, you have to go on the block again. Like, where do you? How do you do that? Like, how do you have the fucking testicular fortitude to just be like, let's do it again? Like, that takes balls. Walk through that then, I guess.
I guess it's just like you start getting good at reading body language. I could tell Day was in the dark last week. They told her she was a pawn. She believed it, but for some reason, like, I could just tell, like, there was something breaking there that she felt between Clay and Shelly. I didn't. It's like vibes. You can either read vibes or you don't.
Exactly.
I knew she was being told something differently or in a different manner than it was being told to me. I knew I was safe. I knew she was not. She was starting to feel it. And then this third week, I'm like, same thing. I know Vanessa is not after me. And at the same time, we have a big target like Audrey still in the game. and Vanessa's willing to offer me this deal, and I'm starting to realize Battle of the Block is just, let's put 4 pawns up and then get rid of the target later.
Exactly.
So it's kind of like, yeah, put me up. I got 50% chance to be safe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
no, absolutely. Like, okay, with this week 3, we're going to bring in Vanessa and Austin's HOHs. She nominates you and James. Austin nominates Jason and Meg. They're going to win the Battle of the Block, but you are going to win the Power Veto. So you just said Audrey was a big target in the house. Did you expect her to go home this week?
At the beginning of the week, yeah, I thought she would go home, but I knew how tight she was with Vanessa and Shelly. At this point, Vanessa really hadn't showed her cards of how manipulative she could be.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just threw it thinking Audrey would go home. I noticed James said neither of us were the targets, but he didn't feel too good. That's important for later. I could tell like he was feeling kind of down about it. We go into the Battle of the Block. I'm trying to throw it, and James does really bad again. I have a really bad partner in there, and I think there was like some thought in my mind, maybe he's trying to throw it to save Meg and Jason, but at the same time, I was just like, I just think he's really bad at this. So, yeah, that's accomplished. We go into the dice competition that Donnie won last year. I was excited. I took like...
That's an awesome comp. I like that comp a lot.
Cool.
You know, those 10 minutes before you're... you're standing out there, they're reading the rules to you. I'm like, the rules these aren't that bad. I'm just gonna try to figure out the combinations to get this done. I figured out a couple. They weren't like the fastest ones to do for some of them, but they were good. They were gonna work. I didn't have to think about it. I just knew my patterns going around.
Yeah.
The first round goes up, and Audrey does the same one I thought of for her turn. I was like, oh my god, she's gonna kill it. I have to take her out right now. So I beat her. And then it looks like no one else really wants to win. Even like Austin, I picked him. Like when it's the showdown, he doesn't look like he really wants to win it. So I'm just like, I'll take it down.
Yeah.
I'll win another veto. And is this when Vanessa tells me she's going after Jeff instead?
I think so. Yeah.
I mean, she does. Yes. I mean,
that's what ended up. That's what happens.
That's what ends up happening. So I guess it would have to be. What did she tell you about going after Jeff?
That Jeff has been going around making alliances with everyone, and he's not to be trusted, and he blew up at her. Something happened, but like, I'm not buying it, because Jeff is like, he's just a nice guy, and he is outgoing, he is a salesman, and yeah, he's gonna have a good relationship with everyone, whereas Vanessa's this like extreme introvert. She's probably threatened by that. She's probably doing something. Like, it's just not adding up to me. At the same time, like, Jeff and Jackie, Clay, and Shelly had brought me up for like one meeting that we have a Final 5 deal. This is what we're gonna do. And Jeff's, after he's nominated, he's threatening that he's gonna blow up this big alliance. So my big thing is like, I don't want a Dan's funeral to happen. Like, that only happened because Dan didn't feel safe. So I'm like, I gotta make this guy feel safe with me. I'm telling him like, yeah, I'm gonna vote for you. I'm not gonna go campaign for you, but I'm gonna vote for you to stay. So hopefully he doesn't blow up that alliance to keep my vote. So
yeah,
find out Clay and Shelly exposed the whole thing to the Sixth Sense anyway. So that didn't matter anyway. But yeah, so I vote for Jeff to stay. At the same time, James thinks I'm being a stand-up guy, voting for the person I'm aligned with. Or in reality, I'm just trying to cover my butt. I don't want this alliance to get blown up. I'm trying to keep calm on a week goes.
Well, that was when the veto was played. You immediately told Vanessa that you're voting. I mean, and am I not mistaken? You immediately said I'm voting for Jeff to stay, and that was it. And you just said it matter of factly. That was kind of it. Am I correct? Yeah,
because she's like, you know what? He's been up here. He's been throwing everyone under the bus except for you. I don't know why. I'm like, well, good. Maybe I should vote for him then. It's like, this is something you're telling me. It's not like you can say, oh, I forget telling you that, which she did that a lot.
Yeah.
For someone who has a great memory, she did that a lot. It's just happened right now. So it's like, well, if you're telling me he's had my back, I'm going to vote for him to stay. You do whatever you got to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Smart.
Well, okay. So like Jeff does leaves James in the house. Right now, let's talk about where you see the divisions in the house. Because as as the viewing audience sees that the house is very divided. You've got what's basically the Sixth Sense, and then you've got the Goonies, and then you've got kind of this Jackie thing, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah.
It gets a little credit as an official Jackie blended name thing. But like, where do you see the lines in the house? Where do you see yourself? Obviously, you've been on the block a lot. You've won yourself safety, but you're in favor with Clay and Shelley, which are two great people to be in favor with at this point in the game. Up to this point in the game, where do you kind of see your position?
It's pretty good because from my perspective, I wanted to work with Clay and Shelley, and we just needed someone else to come in, either Steve or Becky or Vanessa. They were thinking like to make into a Final Four there. Didn't know the Sixth Sense was a thing, but I knew that they were meeting up in rooms and stuff, so I was always suspicious of that because from my perspective, it was me, Clay and Shelley. Clay and Shelley are kind of tight with Vanessa. Vanessa is tight with Austin. Austin and Vanessa, I was convinced had a Final Two. Later, it was told to me, yes, that's the thing. But they have a Final Two. I don't know when Austin finally started making moves on Liz. I guess it's now that Jeff is gone. This finally does start happening.
Yes.
Jackie and me, we stopped talking as much because of Jeff. Jeff was kind of like our connection there.
Okay.
I'm still talking to Becky. I don't think Becky was like completely trusting of me yet, but like I always have my eye on her because the one thing that's like really important that Clay and Shelley couldn't do and Vanessa couldn't do it is that they couldn't keep their mouths shut with information. Like you can talk game with a lot of people, but you shouldn't leak other people's information to other people because that blows up in your face. And Becky is like really good at doing that. I'm noticing. Anything I tell her, it doesn't get out, whereas things you tell other people, it does get out. So I'm like, Becky's a really good one to work with going forward. So I trusted her the most at this point. I don't think I let her know yet, but yeah.
Did you ever worry about like becoming not necessarily a showmance but a faux-mance? Did you ever worry about being seen as a threat because of your kind of close ties with Becky?
Yeah. People like, especially Meg was pushing it like, oh, they're so adorable.
Yeah.
James was like, after she won, he's like, you're safe. Your girlfriend just won.
Exactly.
Like,
yep. And you do that little skit together where you're flossing and what have yous and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So we over the next couple of weeks we tried distancing ourselves, and it doesn't work out because we end up on the block together anyway.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's go into week 4. Week 4 is going to be Liz and Shelley's HOH. I would assume you're pretty comfortable. I mean, I would think that you might feel comfortable because Shelley is the HOH, but it's not the case because this again where you're asked to throw Battle of the Block. Is this another throne comp?
Yeah. So
this will be your last. This will be your last Battle of the Block to throw, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't to throw. So what happened was I've had 0 game talk with Liz. I don't like Liz on a game level from the beginning of the game, so I'm going to keep it that way because I always wanted people that I could put up if I had to. Okay. Then, let's see. So I go up to Clay and Shelley. I'm like, Audrey's got to go. Audrey's been saying blah, 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 all this stuff, which is true. I'm also kind of hinting them at this point, like, I don't like Vanessa. These emotional, like, blow-ups she has, they just something's not adding up. People tend to go home when she's fought with them. I'm starting to realize this at this point. So I don't like Vanessa at all at this point. But I see them still kind of talking. So I'm trying to put it in their head like, Vanessa gets a little emotional. And then hopefully they'll think about it. But so they say, okay, Audrey's the target. We got to put people up. And then that's the end of the HOH conversation. Before noms, they're freaking out. They don't want blood on their hands again, but it's like, come on, you won the HOH. You better have a target. You better have a plan for people to put up. You don't just win the HOH because you're scared.
Yep.
And they don't have any options, so I'm feeling pretty safe, mainly because the rest of the house does want Audrey out. So I'm like, yeah, put me up. Even if things go really bad, I think I'd stay over a lot of other targets in this house. Even if Audrey somehow can't be put up, I think I'd be okay. So, yeah, put me up. And then Jason and I get nominated, and then Shelley comes down. She's like, yeah, don't throw it. You could go for it if you want. I was like, all right. So we go for it. booze because of the stupid pumpkins. We must have smashed open all the pumpkins. James and Jackie come up and they take it right away, but I think we did the same. So
Were you bummed out that the Rockstar couldn't win the competition?
Competition.
Pretty bad.
That was a cool comp. That was a really cool
super,
comp.
super
I
But no,
like
okay.
it,
So like basically you got the blessing to try to win it if you wanted
Yep.
to. So this was not part of the throwing comps package deal that you kind of had with Clay and Shelley early on.
No.
Okay.
And then
All right.
Audrey's the target. Everyone wants her out.
Okay.
She's
Okay.
starting to feel it. She's freaking out more than usual. She's running all over the house, doing all kinds of crazy stuff. So I know I have nothing to worry about. All I have to do is just lay down and let things happen. So when I walk out there and it's the mental comp memorization, I'm pretty good with that stuff. But I'm noticing Vanessa's in the competition too, and she's kind of paranoid. So I know she wants to win it.
Yeah.
Like we just go back and forth, her and I, for a long time here, and both expose our cards, or I could just wait till Meg's out and then lose it. And it happened to be the question was great. It was like orange and red. They were perfect. I'm like, this is a great time to throw this comp. Dump that one in, lose it, and Vanessa is the smart one. Then she's going inside and bragging to people like, I had a great strategy. I was going to do this, to like memorize all of them. I'm like, yeah, we would have been there. We would have gone through all of the colors there. This is awesome. She's looking like a brainiac, and I'm just the dumb recruit right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's great. And then she comes down to me because, like, previously we had made a deal the week before. Since I did all that for her, she was going to keep me safe till 10, not go after me or anything. And
Okay.
I figured maybe the veto would be involved with that. But she comes to me, she's like, I'm not using the veto on you. I'm like, yeah, I don't really care because I know I'm not going home. Even if you did use a veto, Jason would have definitely gone home at that point. So I don't really care. Go ahead, do what you're going to do. And that... I'm realizing, like, when you can make a ballsy speech when you know you're safe.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, so veto's used. Audrey knows she's going home. She is not even present at the veto meeting. I'm like, this is the best to ever be sitting, talking to
Yes.
say on the screen there.
Yeah.
That was easy. Yeah.
So when she goes out, Austin throws the hinky vote, a vote towards you. Did that make you nervous? Did you know it was him?
I didn't know who it was. I was just like, and even I said after Audrey left, I'm like, one of you guys is an asshole. Like, why would you...
Thanks a lot, jerks.
Good for him. I didn't really care. No, I didn't care who it was.
Yeah, that's funny.
Okay.
That's super funny.
Well, okay, man. Battle of the Block Week 5. Jackie and Vanessa are going to win this HOH. Battle of the Block winner will be James and Liz. Nominees will be Becky and Clay. Clay will win veto. And this was the week that Austin almost paid for all of his fuck-ups and went on the block and went home. Jason ended up going home. At this point in the game, would anybody going home other than Becky have affected you much? And like I know Clay and Shelley, there's some symbiotic relationship there, but where Jason, Austin, was there a preference for you or?
No, I didn't really care. I mean, I think Jason liked me more as a person, and maybe that would be better in the line. But I didn't really care. It wasn't going to be me.
Gotcha.
The nominations, I slept through them. Everyone scurries upstairs to have their time with the HOH. I slept through that because Vanessa has a deal with me. I haven't said anything really bad about her other than she's emotional. She can't go back on that with me. Jackie and Jackie's not going to come after me. That's just, there's no reason for me to even go up there.
Yeah.
They yelled at me this morning, like, you still have to come up to make it look like, I'm like, all right, whatever. But I could figure out what happened last night because when the nominations comes up, James is completely different than he was last week. Last week he was down and mopey. He's skipping around. He feels great. And Becky and Clay are up there, like they're good friends with who nominated them? Vanessa, like it was Vanessa nominated them. Yeah. They have no beef with Vanessa at this point. Like there was no reason for her to put them up. James's body language is really off, so I'm like, I know what the plan is. We're trying to get rid of the twins before twins come into the house. And I asked Clay about it. I'm like, are we trying to like bomb lose because the thing I've learned from the first couple weeks is how they play. They ask someone to throw a competition. So James was that person this week, clearly.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like, Clay, is he going to throw? He's like, oh, no. So I know now Clay is lying to me. So his allegiance is not to me anymore.
Exactly. Okay.
And so Sixth Sense is like, all right, I'm out of the club. And then I go out there and Liz wins it anyway. And I don't know if she knows how much she needed that one, but she did. Yeah. And Austin's out there hugging her. I'm like, dude, I don't know if you're as safe as you think you are. It's like the next option. Yeah. And then, he gets mopey when he finds out that he's going to be going up. Vanessa does her thing, finds some dumb reason to put Jason up, which I don't get. Just tell people you're going to put them up. I want you out. I want to win. I want you out of here.
If I've got Clay won that veto and pulled himself off, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What were we talking about with Liz and Austin?
Liz wins the battle of the block, and she's excited. Austin's out there, like, hugging her, like, yay, we did it. Good job.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. For some reason, I thought that you said veto.
This is where Austin fucks up.
So, yeah, absolutely. Okay. Well, the Liz James, we now got Jason is out of the house. You know that at this point, Battle of the Block is over, and you've got to be thrilled. How do you feel about Battle of the Block as a fan?
It's the worst twist ever.
The worst twist ever.
Now living through it, like last year, I was like, oh my God, it's just, I mean, it's a good competition to watch on TV, and I get it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, while you're playing it, it's like you just put pawns up.
Yeah.
Clay and Shelley were the only ones that put someone up right from the beginning that they wanted out. Mm-hmm. And the rest of it was just pawns. Let's get the other person out of there because you don't want to risk that person. You don't want to give the person you want out a 50-50 chance to save themselves. That's
sure. Absolutely. Okay, well, James is going to be this next HOH. He makes a deal with Shelley to protect, keep Clay and Shelley safe from nominations. He goes back on the still. He's going to nominate both of them. He'll win the veto. And James, going into the eviction, wants to keep Clay to work with him since Shelley home. Now, this is where the feeds kind of got crazy this day. Vanessa's going to holler at you. You just sat there very uncomfortably to watch. Yeah. It's weird. But it was kind of go through all that, please. Kind of walk us through what was happening there and how the target shifted from Shelley going home, as in who James originally wanted to go, to it spinning back over and Vanessa kind of leading the charge to switch it to Clay.
Okay.
Now, I do understand that some of that switched earlier that night previously with some of that kind of switched earlier, but go ahead and talk about your part.
Yeah, so this week I really start to hate Vanessa because not even for the fight, just everything leading up to it kind of ticks me off. James wins HOH and he has conversations with people. Again, I wait till morning because like James promised me I'm safe, and I really don't feel like he needed to promise me that. Like, I would have been okay either way.
Well, plus it makes you look like kind of like scared, and then if you're scared about something, then why would you be talking? Or, it kind of gets into that situation.
Yeah, I didn't feel like there's only 2 nominations. I didn't feel like there's any way I was going up, so I didn't go up and talk to him at all until it was over. It tells me, John Mack, I'm going to either throw a small pebble or a big pebble. I'm like, he's throwing the big pebble. Okay. All right. But, so after all the HOH conversations, Clay and Shelley, they feel safe. They feel 100% safe. I'm like, I don't know, guys. And then Vanessa's in the bathroom talking to me. She's like, do you think he's going to put them up? Oh, my God, should we tell them? I'm like, yeah, we should tell them. She's like, no, I don't think we should tell them. I'm like, okay, we shouldn't tell them. And then I go and tell them. I'm like, oh, yeah, by the way, Vanessa doesn't want to tell you. She knows. They're like, they still don't think they're going up on the block, and then they're nominated and they blow up. Mm-hmm. Now I'm sitting out in the backyard, and Vanessa starts doing her like tears and everything. Like, how fucked up is that they would throw me under the bus? Blah 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 blah. I'm like, oh my God, she's doing this. She's blowing up these two in front of everyone else in the house. I'm like, how do people not see what this girl is doing right now?
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. And then even Clay and Shelley don't see it. Like, Shelley walks out, and I have to tell her later, like, she was destroying you out there. You have no idea what this girl is capable of.
Yeah.
they still believe her. They still love her. I don't get it. But so they're up on the block, and then James wins the veto. They stay on the block, whatever. It's getting down to the end of the week, and Clay's young, dumb, and in love 23-year-old wants to fall on his sword for her, and I'm just thinking, like, no, it's not good for my game to keep her, because out of the two of them, Shelly's closer to Vanessa, and I really just don't like Vanessa at this point. And
Sure.
I tell Clay, oh, no, I know what happened. So James and I are sitting on that daybed in the purple room. We're just talking about nothing, just like generalizations going forward. And James walks away, but Clay sees that I was talking to James, and then I just happened to go up to Clay at this point. I'm like, dude, I want to keep you here because Shelly is letting Vanessa in her head. And then Clay goes running off and tells Vanessa, James has Johnny Mac convinced that you're in Shelly's head. And then Vanessa comes back. She pulls me into a side room, and she's like, did James tell you that I'm in Shelly's head? I'm like, no, that didn't happen, because it didn't happen. Mm-hmm. And then she's like, did you tell Clay that James told you I was in Shelly's head? Like, did I make up a lie? I'm like, no, that didn't happen either. So then we go back out there, and she starts yelling at all of us. And she's like, well, which one is it? I'm like, it's neither of those. I'm coming after you. I felt comfortable doing that because you know how they tell you on eviction day, like, you get in athletic gear.
Yeah.
I was like, it's an athletic comp. Vanessa's not going to win this one. I don't care if I took her off right now. Now I have a target, so this is great. So I don't care. And she's like, that's illogical. There's an HOH coming up. Like, how would you not think, like, you can't be on bad terms with me going into an HOH? Blah, blah, blah. In my head, I'm like, I don't care. I'm going to beat you in whatever this is if I have to.
Yeah.
I think
this part of it.
Yeah, that was like one of the craziest things on the feeds. Like just watching like all this craziness happen. Like we don't know what's going on, and like it was just madness. And like I think right around that time is like it's like you say to someone, maybe it was a DR, I don't remember, but you actually speak for like what most of America is thinking at this time. Where you're like every time like Vanessa blows up at someone, they go home, and then it's like you are after her and you see through her bullshit, and like for everyone in America, we're just like, oh my God, thank you that there's someone that's rational and reasonable in the house, like because we all wanted that, you know, we all thought like people should be better than that, you know.
It was ridiculous.
It was a crazy part, yeah. And
then what I've noticed everyone else does wrong when they get into a fight with Vanessa is they talk or they throw someone else under the bus. So I'm just like, I'll come after you. I'm not going to throw him under the bus. And then when she's not getting it and she's asking you, like, who's lying? I'm just like...
Man, when you were talking,
her mind is exploding, and I'm loving it. I'm like,
well, she's all about logic, and you were more like chaos, like, and like someone that's logical cannot do anything with chaos, you know. Like you're just like, I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want. Like there's no logic. There's of course logic, but
stuff that she couldn't see. Like I had zero confidence in her winning an athletic competition. And then so. You want to do next week then? I vote Shelly out because I would have been the only one, or I voted Clay out because I would have been the only one voting Shelly out. Even Meg and James, they had all flipped at this point, which Clay would have benefited their game, but they flipped, and so.
Yeah. Now, right before we move ahead, I'm going to ask you the other Steve Moses question, and that is, do you regret telling Clay and Shelly about the Rockstars Final 2?
Yes. Absolutely. At the time, though, I didn't really want a Final 2 with Steve. I thought Becky was way better. I'm thinking Steve has the Ian vibe on him. Mm-hmm. He's going to go, and like no one's going to be dumb enough to string him along because we already saw it on season 14. Mm-hmm. And I turned out to be completely wrong, and telling them about the Final 2, that got me multiple times.
Okay.
Even though I wasn't loyal to it for most of the game, like I'm still going home for it no matter what I say about it.
No, okay. Well, all right, let's move on. Like you just told Vanessa you're coming after, y'all had this blow up, but Becky's going to win the HOH, going to nominate Shelly and Steve. Steve's going to win the veto, and then Vanessa's going to find herself on the block against Shelly. It seemed like it would be a great time to get Vanessa out. But she is protected with, votes and layers. And at this point, the Sixth Sense Alliance is basically involved in the Scamper Squad, and Julia has entered the house. So there's a lot going on here. Talk about, if you will, this week. You're not on the block. What are you doing? Becky's HOH. This is a weird week because Becky gets totally just fucked on her HOH because this is what I kind of call Becky's "I told you so" week. You know what I'm saying? Like if Shelly had stayed, Vanessa had gone, it would have been a completely different game. But tell me about this week, what you were doing, relationships you were building, and what was going on.
So going into this week, Becky is tight with the Goblins at this point. So that's awesome. We go out to play the HOH there, and I'm killing it. I'm faster than Becky. I'm doing more laps than her. But she whispers to me, she's like, I need this more than you. And I don't know if that made the show or not.
I don't think it did.
Yeah. So like a couple times when we're up scooping the wire, she's whispering over like, I need this more than you. You're safe. Don't worry about it. So I just start spilling stuff everywhere. Okay. And but I'm still running fast because you could throw it and like fall and everything, but everyone's seen me in the house already. They know I'm fast. Mm-hmm. So I'm not gonna like bullshit on that. And if I'm keeping fast, that keeps her pace to win the thing because Julia's doing pretty well too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's how that competition went down. And I wish I would have put more liquid in so I could have taken $5,000. That's one of my biggest regrets in the game.
Yes.
But I didn't. I just spilled it everywhere. So she's HOH, and
it's scary to go for the money though and stuff like that.
Yeah.
To me, I would not have been able to do that. So.
Oh, we forgot something big. The week before, so Clay and Shelly know they're going home. So it must have been after Vito and everything. There's a point where Steve and I are in the hammock room. Clay and Shelly are outside. Everyone else in the house is upstairs. And it's quiet up there. So you know something's going down. Mm-hmm. Vanessa's the first one to come down. And she says to me and Steve, like, oh, nothing happened up there. Don't worry. So, like, okay, something happened. Then the next morning, we're locked down inside. Clay and Shelly are sitting in the corner in the bathroom with Vanessa. And I walk in on something Vanessa didn't want me to hear, but Clay and Shelly are close to me. They don't care if I hear it. And Shelly turns to me and she's like, did you hear they're upstairs making an 8-person alliance to get us next week? And I was like, okay. And then Vanessa's like, yeah, they pulled me in the room. And made me swear to it. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, bullshit.
Sure, okay. You're really emphasizing this to me right now. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know. Vanessa and me, like, I just feel like I knew how she worked the whole time. Like,
yeah.
Better than anyone else. Like, absolutely. I could predict what she would do more than I could predict what a Liz would do, you know?
Absolutely.
So, like, I liked having her as an enemy because I knew what she was thinking. And then Becky reconfirms it to me later what I'm thinking already. Like, Vanessa was up there making an alliance to come after Shelly and me, and then she's telling Shelly, oh, they're up there making an alliance to come after all of us. Like, she's just playing all sides of this.
Yeah,
that also let her blow up. But, yeah, so getting back to this week, Becky's nominations, she's still trying to fall in line with that deal that was made up there.
Okay.
And now I'm thinking, wow, I should not have thrown this because this could go wrong. Yeah. Because Becky's going to put up Steve and Shelly. Something could go wrong here, whereas if I had won it, I would have made a speech about how I'm going to put people up who haven't got the opportunity to win a veto yet, put Julia and Meg up, and veto Meg off, and then put Vanessa up there next to Julia, and she would have had no votes to say. She would have been gone.
Yeah.
Like, man, we could have gotten her. As the whole week is unfolding, the wrong person wins veto. I'm talking to Shelly and Steve during the week, too. Like, pick me for veto. I will pull Shelly off. Mm-hmm. Specifically Shelly. And neither of them like that. Vanessa is in both of their heads because of their Sixth Sense and Scamper Squad.
Sure.
So I don't get picked to play for that veto. It sucks.
Yeah. So, okay.
Vanessa got blindsided.
Yeah, no doubt.
The whole time Becky's telling me, like, yo, she's up there telling me to put you up so we can evict you. I'm like, yep, figured.
Of course she is.
Yeah, no doubt.
And then very easy play for her. She goes up to James like, Shelly's coming after you. I'm not. Don't vote to keep her. Mm-hmm. There's nothing. I don't know how epic it looked on TV, but it was like common sense, really.
Yeah.
And James and Meg are dumb enough to flip the vote, and so it goes out.
Well, with Becky being, were you close to Becky at this point in the game?
Yeah, I knew
Okay.
I was absolutely safe.
Okay. So when the house started turning and Vanessa was going to stay after all the stuff with Becky, don't want to make deals with her, that kind of stuff. Were you getting fearful of Becky's safety in the game?
Yes.
Okay.
Becky and I were in trouble because Vanessa goes like, we gotta keep the goblins strong. We gotta win. Pretty much the season came down to who won competitions. I wanted to play a strategy where I was like, I was okay with no matter which side wins. If the goblins won all those competitions that the Scamper Squad won, Scamper Squad would have gone home. Like,
Oh yeah.
I didn't like
absolutely.
that way of playing. Like, I like to hedge my benefit.
A dominant side. Yeah.
Yeah, no matter which one won, I was going to be getting close to the end there. So
Sure, exactly. Yeah. Well, they were. It wasn't very well stacked. I mean, golly, the Meg, bless her heart, and James tried. There's some James type competitions, but just none of them at the right time.
Yeah.
You could win a veto, but hell, you couldn't win a HOH. You know, there's just things that were just never lined up to get any kind of really traction to start taking out what was the Scamper Squad. But
Midway was the first HOH I wanted to win, but until Becky and I had that conversation during it.
Gotcha.
So I threw that one then too. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Well, going into this next, this is the double eviction episode. When Shelly leaves, Steve's about to win HOH. He's going to nominate Jackie and Meg. You and the veto. Nom stay the same, and Jackie's going to go home. Tell me about being in the house at this point. What you thought? Did you feel like you had to win the veto? Did you feel safe not? Or did you just want to keep the noms the same? What was it? And did you understand what Steve was trying to do?
Yeah, about an hour before eviction, Steve pulls me into the storage room. He's ironing his shirt. He's like, John, if we got a final two, we can't just be like not going after each other. We have to make decisions together. And I had told him at this point, like, I want Vanessa out. Here's all my reasonings for it. And he's like, he says this thing, it makes absolutely no sense to me, but he thinks he can fool me at this time because he thinks I don't know a whole lot about the show. So he's like, well, John, if you were nominated, wouldn't you want someone like that sitting next to you on the chair? So why take her out right now? I'm like, she's coming after me clearly now at some point.
Yeah.
He's like, we need to get someone who's going to win competitions and put us up. And he's saying it's Jackie. I'm like, Jackie's not going to come after me. That doesn't make any sense. But there's these two alliances that are going on. So he's more threatened by Jackie than he is of Vanessa. So we're on different pages here. If I had won that HOH, I would have put Vanessa up. I shook her hand like going into it. Yeah, I won't put you up. I would go
sure.
for her.
Yeah. Did you know where Steve stood? Did you know where Steve's allegiance was?
The Austin and him like hating each other so much seemed weird. Especially because it's out by this point that Austin's a super fan. Like, it's definitely dork bonded by this point. Like, I was just like, why are they doing, like, it was awkward. Like, when I started picking up on it, like, they really, Austin really tries to make fun of Steve. It's ridiculous.
What about Steve and Vanessa?
Yeah, I knew Steven, they talk a lot. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
No one talks to the twins. They're in their own world.
Sure.
They just go along. And then, so going into it, I knew that Steve was going to go for Jackie. He puts Jackie and Meg up. I'm thinking if James wins that veto, he's going to pull Meg down. Becky's going to go up. Becky's going to go home. So I'm trying to win the veto because I like Jackie, but Becky's way closer to me than Jackie is. So
Sure.
I'm trying to save her. Steve and I talk. He's like, are you okay with not using the veto? And me knowing that Vanessa is not going to go up if I use it, I'm like, yeah, I'm great with not using it. Whatever. Fight next week. And then, Jackie goes.
Okay. If you'd have won that HOH, what would you have done?
I would have put up, same thing. I would have put up Meg and Julia. Let the veto play out, take Meg down, put Vanessa up so she doesn't have the votes to stay.
Gotcha. Okay. Great deal. So here, let's keep keep on going down the line. Liz is about to win HOH. So the Oz twins have basically they were a dominant force this season. Let's talk about them for a second. You said you would have gotten Vanessa out. Did you know? You obviously knew how important it was to take out the Oz twins at some point, but did you have a clue? Did you have a clue how to do it?
No. So going into this competition, I'm like, it's clearly the lines are drawn now. We had to take one of them out this week. Now it's just competitions. We got to win a couple in a row and take them down.
Yeah, sure. Get some momentum.
Now I'm a goblin for like 10 minutes here. We go into the emojis. That question ticked me off so much, and I went back and watched the comp because I was so angry about this comp. It didn't make the edit. A lot of them were like easy to predict with the patterns. Like, there's this many rows. It's going to be, where the answer is going to be. Mm-hmm. This last one is just find 5 of them in there.
Yeah.
And what actually happened is we're counting them, and Liz hits a button really quick. I look over to her like, there's no way you could count them that fast. She's like, oh my God, I only counted 4. And I'm just like looking at her like, okay, maybe I've won this thing. And then it happened to be the right one. And I'm in the diary room yelling like, I'm going to get evicted because this moron can't count to 5. And I don't know if it made the show or not after the competition, but that's what happened. She counted 4 and hit the button. It happened to get it right.
No, they did not make the show. Not at all.
I was fuming over that one.
In fact, in the diary room, she was like, "John is so fucking dumb." Blah, blah, blah. She was.
I was like that in the diary room. Idiot. Can't count to 5. I'm going home.
No.
And so, yeah, we know it's either Becky or me. Becky and I have to go up because James and Meg are really tight. Jackie's gone, so Becky's like defaulted with me. Meg is really bad at everything, so it's really just James plus a vote versus 2 people that could actually take you out.
Yeah.
2 people that are specifically going after Vanessa, and Vanessa she's good at controlling these other people, so like we knew we were going up.
I'm screwed.
Yeah. Oh yeah, y'all were toast, dude. And honestly, during this time, your personality just fucking bottomed out on the feeds. This was a hard time emotionally. So talk about that. You've been on the block a lot. You've seen some people that you tried to get maybe close to leave. Here's Becky. Liz is going to win the veto, so everything's staying the same, and Becky's going to go. You were pretty deflated. Talk about this time for you during this point in your game.
Yeah, it just sucks. Like, everyone is in there having a party. Like, Becky and I called it summer camp. Everyone feels great. They're safe. And I just watched 2 people who I was close, or I thought I was close with. Apparently I wasn't. But I just watched them go. Jackie goes, and then it's just me and Becky, and one of us is going to go. Like, I'm not having fun at this point. I don't like any of these people anymore. Mm-hmm. They're just dumb about it. They're not thinking, like, hey, we could use him going forward. Let's get him on our side. They're just... Pot ball, yay! I'm just like, I fucking hate pot ball. This is stupid. I just hate all these people at this point, all of them, Steve included. Steve was out there doing it with the rest of them. So, yeah, I'm angry at this point, and I'm sorry that I was boring on the feeds, but I've just had it, and that's it.
No, dude, it's understandable because obviously, as we get to the next week, you're gonna get evicted. I mean, like you had a series of rough weeks where you just couldn't get traction. Now, I want to ask you about your strategy at this point. Do you feel like that you need to take a shift in strategy at all? I mean, obviously, at this point, like, I mean, I'm talk bad about you, love you like a brother, but your strategy wasn't working. At least there were some gaps in it because you're losing allies and you're about to get evicted for the first time. So, were there any switching gears with it, or was it at the point where you're tired of it that you're just trying to ride it out? Had you given up at that point? At any point was there give up, hang it up?
No, there was never a give up. At that point that week, I didn't really want to campaign against Becky, but I was going to do things to make sure I stayed over her. So I made sure I go in and I tell Vanessa, I kind of hint to Vanessa that I'm onto her. Like, Vanessa is telling me about the 8-person thing from a couple weeks ago. She's telling me, like, oh, they pulled me into the room, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I already know about this, Vanessa. She's like, oh yeah, because Becky already told you, because she had told Steve, and that's why
okay.
she's trying to blame all this on Becky. I'm like, no, Vanessa, you told me. And there's weeks ago, she's like, I swear on my mother that never happened. And I'm like, this girl's a genius. How does she not remember that this happened?
Yeah.
That bathroom thing I was saying, Clay and Shelly. And then I noticed she's scampering around. She runs right upstairs after she says we're good. I know we're not good.
No.
Right, she's going up to tell Austin and Liz something right before nominations. So I go up there and just let her know, like, hey, whatever you're doing, it's shady. And that lets them know, like, hey, she's doing something to me. They wait to call me up, and I tell them everything that I've had against her this whole time. And then she just telling me later, like, oh, I was just making sure that you were good with them. You were the pawn. I was like, yeah, okay. And I start
thanks for watching out for me, Vanessa.
Yeah, thanks.
How frustrating was it to sit and like week after week be like clearly see what Vanessa's doing and her trying to like take shots at you constantly? Like that has to be grating on the mind and grating on the just body essentially, because she's a very forceful person and she's grating essentially, you know.
Yeah, it's frustrating, but that she's getting through to these people. I just don't get it. But what I do use it to my advantage, I go up to Austin Twins. I'm like, look, I'm going after her. This is personal. Austin said she said like I was a serial killer or something.
Yeah, he likes hard rock music or whatever. He likes metal. He likes black metal or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
so I was like, this is personal between me and her. I'm going after her next week. You don't have to worry about me. And that's why I think they kept me a stay over Becky. I don't know, but she was going after her too. I don't know, but I made that pretty convincing. And I was like, at this point, I'm like, Steve, it's you and me, because I think Becky's going. We have to pick a side. We either go with James and Meg, which is 4 people, and Meg's not going to be too good at competitions, or we go with Austin and the Twins, which is a nice 3-person shield to sit behind. Why don't we do that? Steve is already in the Scamper squad. He essentially brings me up. They're feeling shady about Vanessa at the time, too, and at least to me, they kick her out of it and put me into it. And I was like, all right, so now I kind of have a thing going into the next week. And that I don't know if that made the show or not.
Actually it did. It talked about I can't remember.
It always gets mixed up with it.
I know with the feeds. Yeah, exactly.
Because it becomes important next week.
Yes, it becomes. Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll get through that. That Becky's going to go. Austin wins this HOH. Now you're gonna have to forgive me. I know this was the Ready Set Whoa or whatever. You went out like it was you, James, Austin, and you went out, right? Is that correct?
Steve beat me too.
Steve beat you too? Okay. Did you false start or did you just lose? You lost. I
lost. The first one, I think I did better than everyone. I pulled like a hamstring or something. That was legit. I did pull something. And then, so I wasn't as fast. But going into it, I have Austin telling me, if it's down to you and me, I'll throw it to you. And I have James telling me in the purple room, if it's down to you and me, I'll throw it to you. Because they all know I'm going after Vanessa, and they don't want to do it. And then Steve's telling me we have a final 2. So I'm like, these three guys left, they all want me to win.
Yeah.
Maybe they won't try so hard, but they didn't trust each other enough.
Sure.
So, when I pulled my leg, I lost that one.
Well, let's talk about that pulled leg. We talked to Austin earlier, and he's got a lot of stuff about a bunch of bullshit about, and like I wonder what you think. If you think it's accurate, it's all's fair if it's accurate. Do you feel like he was working you out incorrectly to try to hurt you or to make you sore? Soreness is one thing. Soreness is natural and normal or whatever. To try to cause injury is another. Do you feel like there's any of that going on? You're a smart guy. You know what he was doing.
I feel like everything he was doing was correct. Like, he was teaching me correct form. We were working pretty hard, that's for sure. I think he was doing it more out of trying to build some kind of relationship with me so I wouldn't go after him.
Sure.
Because the big thing with him saying I'm trying to tire him out for physical competition is you don't know if it's going to be a physical competition 3 days in advance.
Yeah.
Sure.
How did you know that?
Yeah. I actually have to give a big shout out to one of your greatest fans, I think, Deb. I can't remember exactly what her Twitter name is. I gave her shit on the Austin one because she was like all against Austin because she was seriously worried that Austin was like literally trying to cause you physical harm,
Trying to hurt you.
Yeah, by like working you out too hard to like pull something or hurt something, But yeah,
I work out on my own. Like a lot of this isn't new to me. Some of the things he taught me were new, but like I was choosing my own weight the whole time. It's not like he was putting like, yeah, you should be doing this much weight. Yeah,
like do a shitload.
I would say that we found empirical evidence that is bullshit.
But you should definitely, big shout out to Deb. She loves you. She's your biggest. She was looking out for your well-being. She was looking out for you.
Yeah, she was. She was.
Yeah,
but okay.
Yeah, I think I did pull it because of that.
Gotcha, bitch.
Yeah.
You got me.
You're gonna lose this You're gonna lose this HOH and end up being nominated. Let's talk about the noms. You're nominated against Steve. Vanessa will win veto and not use it. So being up against Steve, did you think there's a chance you could campaign and stay? What did you think?
Yeah, going into noms, I thought we were all on the same page with Vanessa, but I guess not.
Yeah.
And there's something like, for anyone who's going to play this game and you become HOH, there's a subtle psychological thing here that I noticed the whole season, is that the target goes in the key box first and their picture pops up first. And people don't realize that, but that's what it is. And when my picture came up first, and they had just done the same thing last week, I knew I was the pawn last week. Mm-hmm. And Becky was supposed to go. They go Becky, John, and then this week it's John, Steve. Like, I know I'm who he's after if we can't get Vanessa out. Or I'm even thinking he doesn't even want to go after Vanessa. He wants me out. Mm-hmm. I haven't watched the show. I don't know what he was actually thinking. Maybe he didn't care between the two of us. So when you're HOH, think about key order.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm already not feeling safe.
Okay.
It's in a situation where you think you would have to plead to the HOH, but there's a lot that can happen. You have Megan James off the block, you have the twins off the block, and you got Vanessa as the swing vote.
Yeah.
So you need 3 votes to stay, and they can come from anywhere. The thing the twins didn't realize is that I didn't really need them if I could campaign hard enough.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
We go into the veto. I misread the rule book. Despite being a Big Brother super fan, I thought it would be eyes, nose, mouth, but in the rule book, it's like, it could be anything. It could be ears, it could be eyebrows, it could be all this other stuff. So I'm looking at it, and I'm seeing eyebrows, eyes, and mouth each time, and I guess the nose was just a different color. That's why I wasn't seeing the nose, and that's why I lost that. But even going out there, I knew Vanessa was the fastest one.
Okay.
Because she had gone right before me, and it was really quick. You know what that feels like. And then I see 251. I'm like, I'm done. She's got it. So I lose that. Then veto meeting's coming up, and she's trying to put all the blame on Austin. She's like, you know what? He kept me off the block. I'm gonna respect his decision. I'm gonna do whatever he wants with it. I'm like, oh, that's so nice of you, Vanessa. That's so nice. And then Austin's like, you're putting this on me. I don't want to take anyone off, because they're all paranoid about who's coming back from jury or whatever. He doesn't want anyone else off. He's made the deal with James.
Did that play into anything at all? Like, did you think about that at all? Like, where it's like, well, if I do go home, there is a strong possibility I might be coming back. Did that ever play into anything?
I thought I was going for broke here. Like, I assumed I was not coming back because of the random comp from last year.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I figured there was no skill involved with it, like worst case scenario. Mm-hmm. So pretty much, right before the veto meeting, I realized that Steve has done something to Vanessa by making that alliance with me. So I tell her about that alliance made, that everyone was kind of on board as quickly as I can in the bathroom. I'm like, look, you and me are at the bottom of this group, whatever they have going. Mm-hmm. And I know she's going to believe it because as great of a strategist as she is an introvert. She has definitely felt like an outcast before in her life. And like when everyone is out there playing potball and laughing and having a good time, we've kind of been alone in the back room just sulking. So
sure,
I think I could work that bond with her a little bit. And sure enough, she doesn't use the veto, but she flips out on Steve. And I'm starting to, at least I have one last ditch effort. I feel like the Twins are going to keep Steve over me, but I see Megan James. I see Vanessa, who is kind of mad at Steve at this point. I'm like, that's 3 votes there. I confessed my entire game to Vanessa why I'm coming after her. I'm like, you lied about this, you lied about this, you lied about this. And then she's trying to like backpedal and like say like, oh, no, this really happened. I'm like, Vanessa, I don't care if you're lying to me or not. I have no one in this game right now. So I'm just telling you, you don't have to lie to me about anything. I'm on your side.
Yeah.
And, she's still lying. I'm just like, whatever. I don't care. And then the last day, because I didn't want it to happen and have people have time to scramble, I try to pull Meg and James in the room. Like, I don't know the name of the Scaper Squad, but I tell them, like, this has been a thing. Vanessa's on the bottom of it. I'm on the bottom of it. We're strong people. Let's take out Steve and go after them. Last-ditch effort. Meg is really dumb. Goes and tells them everything. And then that whole eviction day, yeah, Austin and Twins, they can't look me in the face. They haven't told me that I'm going, but they can't look me in the face the whole time.
Yeah. Let's talk about the buyback then, and I want to talk about your Julie interview. Okay.
Yeah.
You go out. You tell her that when you come back in, you want to go after Meg. Why did you want to target Meg?
Yeah, so I wanted to target Meg because I'm not going to be like angry, like, I'm going to get all the people who did me the worst. All of them somehow contributed to me leaving. I'm angry at every single one of them. That's for real. And the way you look at it in the house, you have Vanessa and me, who are now the social outcasts. You have everyone else who's buddy-buddy. If I go back in there and I go after the 3-person alliance of Austin and the Twins, you get one of them, and then James and Meg jump right on board. Now you have a 4-person enemy coming after you when you had a 3 and 2 that were kind of okay. So Meg's kind of worthless in competitions. Let's try to get her out, befriend James, and then go after the other 3, because you can't let those groups hook up. Yeah,
that's super smart.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
A lot of people question that. Because
we
were like, why? What
it wasn't
a
personal thing at all. It was like I was just.
That's
maybe people don't realize how much game I was thinking the whole time.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
No, we
dude.
definitely thought it was like, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense actually. That's smart. Like, you're not vindictive. You're not just trying to like go guns blazing, go out and you're playing a little bit smart.
Us and Twins were in power 2 weeks, and the way I saw it, James and Meg stayed off the block both weeks. Like. They have some kind of working relationship.
Something's going on. No, absolutely. Okay, dude. So Vanessa is going to win this next HOH. After you've left, now you've come back. You're evicted. You're in the jury for about 20 minutes at this point. Come back in, and could you have won this competition?
I legitimately, my muscles failed at that point. I don't think that she could have gone for another hour, maybe like another few minutes, but I don't think she could have gone another hour. But at the same time, she's offering me the deal, and I'm like, I don't need the deal. Her and I think very similarly. I know she's not coming after me. Even if everything that I did to set up with her beforehand, like, yeah, if I come back into the game, I'll work with you. Like, even if she wanted to go back on all of that stuff, like, logically, she's not going to. She's almost thinking the same thing I am. She's got to take out Megan James.
Okay. And here's another thing that you brought up that we talked about on the podcast, because we watched the, I guess it was the wall competition live, and there's the point where it was right when James, Shelley, and yourself were the last 3 on there, and they're trying to start making deals, and you fall off before making any kind of deal.
Yeah.
Did you just fail, or did you not feel like you needed any deals? You felt like you were safe with the, like, what was that? Did you fall off on purpose, or did you?
It was both. My muscles legitimately gave out at that point. I tried to do James's crouching thing, and my legs were too long. I just couldn't do it.
Okay.
My muscles legitimately failed in the middle of Shelley's speech, and at the same time, James wasn't going to go after me anyway.
Sure.
The only thing I was going to do was like an offensive move. At that point, I did kind of have a target. I was like, all right, let's continue going after the goblins. I'm glad I didn't win then, because I could have done the dumbest thing ever if I took Jackie out. That would have been stupid.
Well,
So it was good that my muscles failed. But
okay, interesting, because it was so like it coincided like as the talk started, it was like, damn, did Johnny not want to make some deal with them? And so he could say, hey, I didn't make any deal, I just legitimately quit, or
no,
couldn't-
legitimately, like
Okay.
my arms didn't work anymore.
Okay, I got you. All right, well let's bust up through this. So James is going to win the veto on this week. Julia is going to be the replacement nom, and now this is the interesting thing. You wanted Meg out. Now you got a position Meg's about to go. You've got a very good target on the block in Julia as far as an attempt to break up the Oz twins, but that's not going to happen. Meg's going to go. Did you? That was what you wanted. You wanted Meg to go no matter what. Is that right?
Yeah, I wanted Meg to go, and my mind went. You know how you're in there and you're like going around the scenarios, and you
Sure.
come to a conclusion like there is no good answer here because you
Sure.
don't know what's going to happen in the future.
Sure.
And I was just like, all right, stick with the plan, get Meg out, and then I was getting close to James, and James is a better competitor. Let's just keep him on my side, and then we'll go after those three if we do win something. And I tried to flip Steve for a couple of days. I was like, do we need to flip it? Because this is also the megaphone thing that happened. I was like, Steve, do we need to flip it? And it was up to the last minute. Steve comes up to me. He's like, should we flip it? I'm like,
Wait, what's the megaphone thing?
so we got locked
The
down.
shout-
Okay, so yeah, what happened with that? What was your reaction to that? What did they shout? And how do you feel about that in general?
People should not shout in there.
Exactly.
Don't mess
Hell no.
with the game. Like, don't mess
Exactly. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
We fucking railed against that because it's garbage. Anyone that does that is a shithead, attention-seeking garbage hole.
Scumbag.
Let us play.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
Don't get involved. Let us go for it. If we do stupid things, let us do it.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah, absolutely.
So what did they say?
So,
And
As far as what I got from it, it wasn't anything new. I don't think I heard it correctly to begin with, but from what I heard, it's like Vanessa and Austin are working together, which Austin told me that already. They had a final two at some point. And then Austin wants Julia out, which I was like, yeah, he's wanted Julia out for a long time because that's the only problem with his deal with Liz. And he's taking like the big target for the three of them. Like, of course he wants Julia out. So it wasn't anything that revolutionary, you know?
you hear that,
Yeah, sure.
wall shouter? Dumbass. You didn't do shit. Good
Yeah, you
job,
said stupid
suckhole. Yeah.
So, okay, well, like choosing to send Meg home ends up to be a pretty good decision because Liz is about to win the HOH. Even though you're going to be nominated, you're not the target. Julia will win the power of veto, which if she would have been there, she wouldn't have won the power of veto. Who would have won that? You?
No, I just rolled mine off the edge.
Oh, that's right. Who's second?
I think
a lot of-
Austin or Liz would have, so it wouldn't have made it.
Okay. Well, anyway, James is going to walk out the door. This is kind of falling in place with what you want. Is that correct with your return of the Mac?
Yeah, right? Yes.
Yeah.
No, so going into that double eviction, I went in and I was like, I told the twins, like, hey, you're not my target, because at the time I'm also getting kind of worried about this Vanessa Austin thing.
Yeah.
Like, those are the people I'd want to take out. Why would I get rid of the twins? They're not good at anything.
Yeah.
But
Well, I mean,
and I'm glad I
Liz
didn't put
with some fucking comps. I mean, you can't like she's a pistol, bro. She was fit. She could get there and win some shit. I'm just saying. So
I don't know. But I'm glad I didn't flip the vote, or it would have been Steve and I up, and I probably would have gone because Steve would have blamed it on me, and they would have
Yeah,
said,
sure.
So I'm very glad I did not flip that vote. James and I are up on the block, and I'm not crazy about it because once Meg was gone, I didn't want James to go. I wanted to work with James.
okay.
But that HOH competition was funny. I don't know what all they said about it, but Liz apparently had tried to throw it to Julia because Julia hasn't won anything. So she tried to get the last two questions wrong, and she got them right. Which just, my opinion of Liz is going down and down and down as this is going on. I know you're saying she's a good at the comps. I'm like, I don't think she's that good. Even the OTAB, to me, it looked like Austin threw it. He didn't tell me he didn't throw it. But
The comp wins are there. Like everybody said, Erin was a beast our season, and she won like some guessing puzzles and rode a ball one time. So I was like, she's not exactly like some monster here.
Yeah.
So, but I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Liz outs officially the Scamper Squad in her speech. Doesn't give the name. I'm like, genius, Liz. Good work. Moving on from there, I thought I was safe next to James, and that's why I didn't really feel like I had to talk any game.
Yeah.
Had it been a normal week, I think he would have stayed over me, but luckily there was no time. And afterwards, Vanessa, Steve, and I were in the back rooms like, how dumb are these people? Like, they should have made a deal with James and taken me out, because I've been working with Vanessa and Steve.
Yeah.
That was really dumb move. But
that was a missed opportunity, absolutely. And one that I regret here in the next just a little bit. Steve's about to win HOH, and he finally pulls a big one here with Austin and Liz going up. And we've interviewed him earlier, and he said that who would not have been a big move at this point, and that is the truth. Any combo would have been a good worthy target to have pursued. But Austin's going to win this veto, and it's going to have Liz and Julia up against one another. Now, talk about this week. Steve's HOH, you feel pretty safe, of course. Huge targets in the house, huge targets on the block. Tell me about the decision to keep Julia over Liz. There's lots of like promises that Vanessa had to do all this kind of shit with Austin, and just kind of talk about from your end of things that decision.
Okay. So starting off, Vanessa, Steve, and I, we meet up before the HOH competition. We're thinking it's mental, and so we're like, we pretty much come to a decision. If it comes down to it, if it's us three left, I'm gonna give it to one of them, because I don't want to be sitting here next week depending on those two for a physical comp.
Okay, sure.
Because they're not going to win it against Austin or any of the twins. So we get out there. It's a mental thing. It comes down to me and Steve. I'm like, Steve, you got to take this one, man. You got to do the moves. So Steve's HOH. Vanessa gets him in a room really quick. She's already thinking what I'm thinking. You can't put Julia on the block. You got to put the one that's least likely to win the competition on the block so that they can't veto one of theirs off, and then Vanessa or I have to go up and we'll be voted out. So she goes and tells him that. And the thing I'm concerned with, I go up and tell him, I'm like, dude, I am worried about a Vanessa Austin thing, because like you see the situation right now, it's like 3 versus 3, but you could also paint it as you got Vanessa Austin with 2 cronies under each of them, and they're just gonna have us go after each other until it's those 2 left. So I'm worried about that. But then I'm talking to Vanessa, and she's like, "We have to take Austin out this week, right?" I'm like, "Okay." So now I'm like, it's over. It's like, you gotta win comps to the end now. No one's loyal to anyone at this point. So we get out there, we play the veto. Vanessa has been building trust, assuming that we're gonna get rid of Austin this week. She's been building trust with the twins in case they win HOH next week. They'll come after Steve and me and not her. Very evident when she gets Julia to do exactly what she wants.
Amazing.
So I'm like,
amazing TV.
That was awesome.
So
I was
awesome.
like, Vanessa's a genius, and
Yeah.
Julia's not. So like, this was dumb. They should have just taken us out and let Julia have the veto. So after I see that, I'm like, all right, Vanessa is tight with the twins. I have to take the twins out. I take Liz out of the competition. And then it comes down to Austin and me, and Austin wants me to throw it to him. I'm like, yeah, dude, I'll throw it to you. Let's have to.
Yeah.
So I throw that. I don't think I would have had to throw that. He figured out a really good strategy for that. So I don't think I really had to throw it, which is everything I had to throw, I didn't have to throw. Like, you know? So and then he has his whole Judas moment with Jesse. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Then he says to me, why doesn't Steve just put Vanessa up right now? And in hindsight, if I had known the competitions were going to play out the way they were, that would have been the best move. But that was dumb at the time. Because it would have just been me versus Austin and both the twins going into the next week. So he puts Julia up, and Vanessa and I are going back and forth, and we're like, who should we take out? Who should we take out? And we see that there's no good situation. You leave Austin and Liz together. They're a target for us to go both of us to go after, which is insinuating we don't trust each other at all. So we're only loyal to each other until we have to be. You split up Austin and Julia. The couple is finally split up, but now how well can Vanessa and I trust each other to stay together and still take out those two? Not very well. We both pretty much agree on that. And we just like, you know what, we're going around in circles. Let's just do whatever the twins want us to do. Because I'm telling you, I don't feel like Liz deserved any of her wins. I really feel Liz did not deserve any of her wins. I don't feel like one twin is better than the other one. So just, I don't care. I'll do whatever they want.
Okay. Yeah, so you get rid of Julia. Going into next week, Vanessa wins. HOH, she nominates you and Steve. You win the veto. And she puts up Austin and Steve.
Yeah, this is great. I was going into thinking, like, because she had told me before the HOH she was going to throw it to me. And when she sitting down for the eviction, I could tell she got paranoid again somehow. Mm-hmm. So I was like, oh, she's paranoid. And then she's right. She's going into this final five with Steve and me and Austin and his girlfriend. And the final two thing is something she has built up in her head. Yeah, I have been playing with Steve. Like, I've been playing really tight with him. Mm-hmm. But that's like just so he doesn't turn on me. I'm open to working with anyone, really. Mm-hmm. But she has this built up in her head that Steve and I are going to work together. I'm sure Austin, he's a smart guy. He pitched it that way. I'm sure that we're a showmance. Might as well take us out. There's no way I'm going to change her mind on that. I'm like, yeah, put me up. Because the way I see it, the move I can make is that Austin and Liz are scared of Steve. So if you keep Steve and myself off the block, if Austin or Liz win the veto, Vanessa would probably rather see me go than Steve, so she'll put me up and I'll go. Mm-hmm. If Steve wins the veto, we stay off the block. If Vanessa wins the veto, she could take one of them off and put me up on the block. So basically, there's 2 out of 5 chance, if everything's equal, going into that veto that I would stay. Whereas if you put me on the block, I can pitch a deal to Austin and Liz like, hey, if it comes down to us 3, I'll throw it to you. Mm-hmm. And maybe that'll build some trust and they are on my side and they'll want to take Steve out. So instead of 2 out of 5 fighting for this, it's 3 out of 5. And I wanted to be on the block. So
that, again, I think is a little bit of chaos in the face of logic. I think they probably rerouted her circuitry. Like, I thought, I don't know.
It's like, I got nothing to lose. It's almost like the Final Four veto. It's like,
yep. Doesn't matter.
It comes down to the veto, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Hell yeah. And then it's a tie vote. Steve and Austin.
Spencer's going like, I can't hear him.
Oh, yeah, we can hear you. I was wondering why he was so damn quiet all of a sudden.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, no. What I wanted to say is that this is a situation where Johnny, you said yourself this was your fuck up. You should have sent Steve home, kept Liz and Austin in the house together another week, so that she didn't have a choice but to break up the showmance, and then you would be getting in the final 3.
Yeah.
Do you still stand by that after being outside the house? Do you feel like that was?
I don't know now. So I have different stories coming to me from my parents, like people watch the show, and then Steve's mom. So once it got down to final 5, what would have happened? Were all 4 of us going to take Liz to the end, or was Steve actually going to be loyal to me? Because that changes things.
Liz, it looks like Liz was going to the end, pretty much no matter what. Now, I honestly, I don't think he would have taken you over Vanessa had something panned out like that. Yeah. But I think you would have just been a situational final 2. You'd have to ask him, but I don't think that you were like his fucking ride or die.
He's not stupid.
His mom did think that you were at this point. I know that because we talked about that, but I don't think that he had you as that.
So. Not when Liz is another option.
Sure, exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, because I was gonna try to take Vanessa out in Final 4. So in hindsight, maybe it's not as bad of a mess up as I thought it was. But basically, it was all in my hands. Like because I was talking about throwing the veto to Austin. I had him trusting me all week. I've had Steve trusting me for a long time. I was going to blindside someone, and I knew Vanessa wanted Austin out.
Okay.
So, yeah, I just kind of weighed out what my next move was going to be, and I wanted Vanessa out. So I was thinking if it is the day's competition, Steve has a better chance of winning that, or if it's the traditional, like, spider web thing,
yes.
Steve is going to do better at that than Austin, and Steve's going to do what I want with it. Or maybe not what I want, but what he wants is going to be aligned with what I want. So right near the end, I'm just like, yeah, I hate doing what Vanessa wants because I know exactly how this benefits her game. It keeps the pair in there, and no one's going to come after her. If I had gotten rid of Steve, it would have kept the pair in there, and the pair might go after her instead of if it's Steve and me in the game, we're coming after her. So I know exactly why she would have rathered me to keep Steve. So I have a really hard time making this decision the same way she does. But I'm like, it's just better for my game to get rid of Austin. So yeah, Austin was the one to get blindsided. Steve would have been equally blindsided if I went the other way.
Of the two, and of course we're getting into competitions, where that's all that matters. But of the two, of Austin and Steve, obviously Austin going is better for you. I mean, it's just one of those of people that will take Johnny Mac to the next level, the next, obviously it was kind of like a, duh. But and this is going to get important because Steve stays around, Austin leaves. Austin says before he leaves, talks about Vanessa saying, there's no way you can win now. Did that make you want to take her to the final two at all? Or why did you think he said that? What was up with that?
I've known since the first 5 jury members, I'm looking at everyone else in this house, like, I'm going to win if I get to final 2. Like, the first 5 jury members are going to vote for me over anyone in here, the way I knew them. So I was like, I got to start ticking some people off. So I made sure when Julia went, my goodbye message was evil, or not evil, but like I was like making fun of her for sure. Yeah. And I wanted to blindside people. I needed to get some people ticked off at me. And I was upset that Austin got mad at her instead of me because that made her look like someone you'd rather take to the end over me. Yeah. I was like, I was the one that did it, man. Like, why are you mad at her?
You wanted that blood on your hands.
Yeah. You see, I'm kind of angry there. I'm like, Vanessa's crying right now. Yeah, whatever. But I'm angry. Like, I deserve this one. This was mine, not theirs, and I don't get any credit for it.
It's fun. Yeah. No, I mean, and really, Vanessa, she gets a lot of credit for a lot of things that were group efforts or could not have been done. And
me telling her to put me on the block and let's take Steve out at some point, I think that worked. I think it got her to think like, hey, maybe these two aren't too tight.
Yeah.
And can keep Steve around a little longer. And then it came back to me, let's get Austin out. Like, I feel like absolutely. That was my move the whole week, and then she gets all the credit for it.
That's a lot of times how this game works. Is a lot of people don't get the credit, just who gets the shown on the TV
credit.
Show.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, let's go to day 89 because this is when Steve is going to win HOH and nominates you and Vanessa. This is all about this veto. So Vanessa's going to win the veto. It's you and Liz. And for the second time this season, you're going to be evicted. Kind of talk about this transpired. I say it was day 89. How long did this series of events take to transpire? A couple days?
Yeah, Austin leaves on 89, and then we played HOH immediately, and then the next day we played veto on 90, and then 91 I'm evicted.
91 evicted. Okay. Yeah. Excellent. All right. Well, I mean, that's one of those things. Once you knew Vanessa was going to be the vote, did you know that there's no chance of you staying over Liz? You knew that she's going to take Liz on. I mean, what kind of where were you going? And I know that, like, in Vanessa's speech, she called you out and said, to the deals you've made me, you'd have to either A, break a deal with somebody you've had for a long time in this game, or B, blah, blah, blah. So, like, what were these promises? I want to hear about this. Because obviously there's campaigning there. and I need to know what your pitch was to try to stay and get to the final 3.
Yeah. So first of all, the deal started before Austin was evicted. She's like, dude, what do you want to do? Do you want to take out Steve? Do you want to take out Austin? Like, I'm final 2 all the way with you. Yeah, dude. I know she's done that to a lot of people. I'm like, I'm not buying it, but okay. So she initiated the final 2 then, right there. And so then Austin's evicted. Then we're trying to stay close. We're the only 2 sleeping in the comic room. You know, you keep your enemies close, and I think we both knew that. We're helping each other study for this thing, and everything's legit. Like, I already know all the answers to everything, but I'm studying with her, and everything she's telling me is legit. So she's trying to game me. I'm trying to game her. We're both going to do the same thing. So it doesn't matter at this point. She's quicker on the days out there. The very last one, I definitely blanked out. I couldn't put it together. 6th person nominated, I don't know. Yeah. As soon as it's over and Liz has absolutely zero poker face, gets up, gets all excited, I know I'm done. I walked in, I see the small 4-person table. I'm like, great, this is awesome, I got here.
Yeah.
And if it was someone dumb, like, I definitely would have tried to campaign harder, but Vanessa's not dumb. She's gonna take me out. So I say, like, are we still good with the final 2? I offer her like, in the endurance comp, when Steve is down, I will drop out of it, which I would do. Because I felt like either of them might have taken me to the final. I don't know. Just like trying to reaffirm everything from last week, like, but I know I'm done. There's no chance. Just Liz is like, yay, final 3. She says, yay, final 3.
That's wow. Yeah.
And then we're sitting there for the eviction, and she's just like all laughing. She's like, ooh, I can't wait for the live show. I'm like, that's what inspired me to just be like, you're just bad at this.
Yeah. No,
Vanessa wants to pull off a great blindside, and you're ruining it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm more ticked off about. Vanessa can have a moment here, and you're just
Can you please let Vanessa have a moment?
Vanessa says to me, either she tries to put it on me like I was making the deals with her. We were both making deals with each other.
Sure.
So yeah, I am guilty, but she's guilty too. But she's saying, you're either going to be loyal to Steve or you're going to turn on him. And I can't have someone who's going to turn on me coming with you. But I'm like, well, if we're final 3 and I turn on Steve, that means that I'm with you. So, like, I'm just like, you're just saving face right now.
Yeah.
Do your speech. I think you could have done a much better speech. But, yeah, just put me out.
Well, that's it. There is a point in the game where people are always like, oh, why didn't they do this or this, that, other thing. There's a point in the game where your game is just played out. You have no more currency, to leverage out. You have nothing left to offer. And it's the end of the game. And there's a point in the game where, like, everybody, like, when you get voted out like week 1 or 2, they're like, oh, you're such a threat. You'd have won this game if you'd have stayed. Yeah, well, probably not. But, like, when you get voted out at, like, 6, 5, 4, you're voted out because you could win the game. So that is one of those things, man. You had a great game. The more talking to you, you try to act like there's a lot of chaos involved in your game, but I think there's a lot more strategy than of course you let on during the show.
External chaos.
Exactly.
Right?
But like they didn't know how to work with you. And you knew all the pieces. It sounds like you knew all the pieces. You know where things were going to fall. You knew where people had true allegiances to and where they didn't. And you were able to kind of like, you're able to navigate it, man. On the block 9 times, hell, evicted twice.
You on the block 9 times?
Yeah, 9 times. We're both 9 times. We're both 9 times brothers. Let's give a fucking fist bump to the camera.
Times in 4th place.
Yeah, 4th place.
Yeah.
4th places. Yeah, well, you even have you got evicted 2 times and never went to jury house, right?
Yeah,
that's fucking cool. That's kind of cool.
That is cool.
Yeah. Right on. I mean, of course you want something better than that, but
yeah. And the jury, right before I was evicted, Steve was like, campaign for me and jury. I was like, nah, if you didn't earn this on your own, I'm not gonna. Dr. Will campaign for Boogie and jury. You had to win it on your own, man. So when I was out there, I was like, out of the 3 people left, Liz did the worst. I'm going to destroy her. And Vanessa played the best. And I'm going to do whatever I can to make sure if she's in that final 2, she's going to win. And, yeah, I love you, Steve, but she played better than you. Like, Steve was too dependent on other people. Vanessa knew exactly what she wanted to do. Yeah, she wasn't, like, as social as, like, Dan or Will or Derek, but, like, she got there.
How would you rank her social game on a scale of 1 to 10?
2.
2. Fair enough. No.
Whatever she did, I feel like she just graded on people, like, with her logic. And it did make sense to a lot of people, and that's what got her to the end.
Sure.
And she was right about all of it, because it was the exact same stuff I was thinking. But, like, did people want to take her, like, remember, like, season 14, Danielle, Final 4, takes Dan off the block to evict her boyfriend?
Yeah.
That's not logic. That's like she loves him so much that she is going to trust him to take out Ian for her.
Yeah.
Like that, Vanessa could not have done that. You know, it's like a different kind of awasomeness. It's
sure.
Like, yeah.
No, I'll give you that. Playing, I mean, it's, a lot of people say that season 16 cast, wasn't the brightest cast that's ever played the game. That's why Derek was able to run through them.
And Derek had good relationships with everyone. That's how he was so good.
Sure.
Vanessa's different. She's like a different animal. She's not like no one had her as her best friend in the house, but she was so good at explaining the logic to people.
Yeah.
And they're just like, yeah, that makes sense.
She was incredible. She's probably the best I've ever seen at extracting information, deciding what was good information, and be able to use it to her advantage. Right. So people were afraid to lie to her because she'd call them out if they were lying. So she'd get truth, really real information. Right. And she did play an excellent game, no doubt. And I really do like hearing that had she been in the final 2, you would not have been a bitter juror. And
she played the best.
So and what's awesome is when you got voted out, it's like you were kind of pissed off at her, but like when you came back in, it's almost like hell if you can't beat her, join her and try to see what you can do. And that's, dude, I commend your gameplay. Great season with you, Johnny. Is there anything that we've not covered that we've been really pretty thorough? Is there anything?
We hit about everything that I could think of.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Shit, it's like, okay, dude, you'll do lots of interviews with other people, and they might be a lot shorter, but they're not going to be as in depth. So
I love going through the whole thing because it's like, I could finally recount everything because I haven't seen the show, but I'm getting the vibe that like anything I talk strategy wise, it did not come out.
No, it
did not.
You were fun. You were fun and goofy, and you were sharp. And like your diary room sessions, let everybody know that you knew what was going on. Mm-hmm. Like you weren't an idiot. Like you. But I don't remember a lot of like mastermind sessions. We'll say that. Mm-hmm. But you don't come across as dumb. You come across as somebody who's actually very knowingly playing a defined game. So you get to say that you did something that a lot of people don't say, like Austin. He said earlier that like his game was more just trajectory of after falling in love, just wiggling through the house, and it just happened more so than strategy. You had to maneuver. You had to figure out the deuce who was lying to you, how things should go, and that kind of thing. And you played a defined. I'm gonna act like I don't know what the fuck's going on, but really I do. And playing a defined game is really pretty incredible. And Victor twice, man, you made the Final Four. That's fucking awesome. Yeah. That's, really is. For you to come back, last as long as you did, help to get out major targets and make it to Final Four where, I mean, like Final Four, as I always say, this Final Four is your strategy gets you there. So you've had top 4 strategies regardless of what anybody says if you make it to the Final Four. After that, it's competition wins and it's a crapshoot. So, I mean, the best you can do is struggle strategically to get to Final Four, and then shit, you just might be bad at fucking tic-tac-toe or whatever the fuck game it is, But anyway, well, all right, Johnny, do you have anything you need to shout out? What's your Twitter handle? I know we've got it on the screen, but go ahead and shout out all that stuff.
I believe it's BB17 Johnny Mac. I wanted to be Rockstar DMD, but my buddy Joe, he set that up for me, so I'm going with it. Maybe I'll change it at some point in the future, but yeah, just
You
follow
better
that.
change it quick, or somebody will steal it just to be a dick.
No, I have the other one.
Okay.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
So
So
yeah,
I
then you
don't
can
remember
actually
how-
end up changing that one Twitter to something else, and then change your Twitter that you have now to that. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
You've
Like,
got-
Maybe
got to
like
get-
in a year when everyone's forgotten about me, that's when I'm gonna do it. And then-
Yeah.
no, you can still save all your followers. You can keep them all. Like, still, you can change it. Like, there's a way to do it. I know it.
Oh.
I don't know. Maybe
Well,
I did it a million
Johnny,
times.
one thing I would like to do, you plan on watching the season quickly, or you're going to take your time or not watch it at all?
Eventually, I'm gonna watch it. I just watched the competitions just to see like how they were edited. I'm pretty sure in my mind that nothing of my gameplay is out there, so that's good. I guess
Well,
I don't know.
I would like for
But yeah, I'll watch it eventually.
Okay, after you do watch it, I mean, whatever. I'd like to have you back on to talk about your edit versus your game. So we've
Okay.
never done that with anybody before, but I would like to do that if you intend to watch it. So,
All right, sounds
all
good.
right, awesome, awesome. Well, dude, yeah, everybody go follow Johnny at BB17 Johnny Mac. Make sure you subscribe. Don't forget, we've got Survivor podcast hosted by Max Dawson. It's called Survivor with all the fixins, and that is every Thursday at 9:30. Also on Saturdays, we've got the Pit Stop with
Saturdays? I thought it was Thursday, Fridays.
Oh, it is Friday. Excuse me. Fridays. It's a new schedule. Sorry, I don't have it down yet. But it's Fridays, and that is the Amazing Race podcast, the Pit Stop with Mike and Rochelle. So make sure you tune into that, subscribe for all that stuff, and we will be back. We'll be releasing these one a day until we've got them all out. 11 interviews to do, so we're trudging through them. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of those. Johnny Mac, appreciate you, dude. Great season. Glad you were here.
Thank
Enjoyed
you so
talking.
much, man. You've been a pleasure, absolute pleasure to watch the whole time. Entertainment. You've had gameplay. You've had just great DRs. Like definitely top 10 DR session guys. I definitely think because you always came in there and killed it with the DRs. So I just have to say thank you so much.
Thanks, man.
No, absolutely. And thanks again for doing the show, man. We really appreciate it.
Hell
I
yeah,
love
dude.
this show.
All right, take care, everyone, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.